There's been a lot of Bomberman games over the years. You have the 2D ones, the 3D ones, and still none of them hit as close as Bomberman Generation does. I love every Bomberman game, and especially the 3D ones like Bomberman 64 and 64 The Second Attack. But Bomberman Generation takes what those games did and takes it up a huge notch. This game was released June 4th, 2002. It's amazing, fantastic game. One of my favorite video games of all time. I love it. Does it still hold up? Let's get into it.
Bomberman Generation!
The story of this game is that a space freighter carrying bomb elements, 6 of them, was on its way to Planet Bomber to presumably deliver them, and they were attacked by a hired gun from the Higgy Higgy Bandits and their leader, Mujo.
The evil Higgy Higgy Bandits scheming for domination.
Professor Ein contacts Bomberman and Max, and they team up to go find the bomb elements that landed on nearby planet Tentacles.
There you are, Bomberman. It's me, Professor Ein.
This game has 6 different worlds to explore. In actuality, it's more around 4 worlds, because the last 2 worlds are basically just like a couple levels, and World 6 is just the final boss. Each world has a different theming. You'll start off in like a jungle-esque world in World 1, then you'll go to water and ice world, then the desert, and then you even go to the moon. So that's pretty cool. Lots of variety, nothing repeated, everything is just fresh, and I like it a lot. Your main objective in each level is to defeat enemies, pick up power-ups, find Carabombs, play mini-games to get items to create new bombs, and once you make it to the end of each level, there's going to be a boss. Defeat the end boss and you clear the level. For most worlds, you'll play 2 levels, and then you'll fight a Crush Bomber. They're similar to the Dastardly Bombers from the Super Bomberman games. Not to confuse them with each other, they're both different groups. After the Crush Bomber fight, which is usually like the 3rd level in each world, you'll play 2 more levels, and then you'll fight the final boss of that world. And that final boss of that world will give you the bomb element. You'll come across a multitude of enemies on here. You got the standard Higgy Higgy Bandits, and then you got, for example, in the ice world, these penguins that kick bombs from underneath them. And then you got like these Venus flytraps that try to swat you in World 1, Level 2. Lots of variety of enemies, and they're very fun, and each has a different way of defeating them. On the very first level, you'll come across your first Carabomb. Now, if you played Bomberman 64, The Second Attack, which is the sequel to Bomberman 64, you had Pommy with you. And Pommy was a Carabomb, and it could change into different forms. So on here, you get Carabombs, and they all have different abilities. Angler, the first one you meet, for example, he'll let you throw bombs super high up and far. So you can get to high-to-reach places you normally wouldn't be able to without him equipped. You have like Stegodon, he lets you kick bombs super far. Then you have Pommy, which gives you the remote control ability. So you can detonate bombs whenever you want. Tons of different Carabombs on here. Some Carabombs are more helpful than others. But Pommy is definitely like the best. And you can even fuse them later in the game. So you can take Pommy, which has a remote control bomb. And there's this Dragonite looking Carabomb that lets you use bomb jumps. You can fuse them together and have one with both abilities, so it comes in handy. Lots of Carabombs to collect and fuse on here. Lots of fun. There's Carabomb feed items scattered throughout each level. And you pick those up to level up your Carabomb, and they'll get stronger. Also, if you want more Carabombs, you'll find these door portals in the ground, and that's where you will battle other Carabombs. It's similar to Pokemon, but you just click 3 different typings of like playstyles, like skillfully, defensive, first move, and the battles play themselves out, so lots of fun. It may be similar to Pokemon, but it's also very different. There's lots of different bombs to use on here. You have the standard fire bomb, you get a water bomb, ice bomb, wind bomb, and even a light bomb. To get these, first, you'll find a mini game to play throughout each world. It'll be on a random level. You play the mini game and you get the bomb merge item. And then later in that world, you'll find another area where you can merge it with the element. So you'll play the mini game and you'll get like a bag of water. And then you'll go to a bomb merge portal in a different level in the same world, and that lets you create the bomb. So find those mini games and play them. They're lots of fun. And you can even replay them on the title screen. So lots of fun. You'll need these different bombs to actually progress later in the game. They'll be mandatory. There'll be a level that's like a gauntlet that makes you use each bomb to its abilities. So these attribute bombs, you'll find like a leaf on the ground, you gotta use the wind bomb. And then if objects are invisible, use the light bomb to make them visible. Lots of fun puzzles to solve, and sometimes it can even be very helpful against certain bosses. This game also has lightning cards. If you played like Bomberman 64, you'll remember the gold cards you had to collect. If I remember correctly, there's like 5 in each level. On here, there's only 3 lightning cards per level. And each Crush Bomber fight will have 5 to obtain. 1 for beating the Crush Bomber within like 2 minutes, something like that. And then the rest are like, hit them when they do this attack. Hit them when they do this attack with this type of bomb. But in the main levels, for the most part, you won't be able to get the lightning cards on your first playthrough of each level, because you won't have the specific bomb that you need. Like, you may need a bomb jump in the ice world, but you won't have that bomb jump until you get to the moon on World 4. So this game has a lot of backtracking if you want the lightning cards. They're not mandatory to beat the game. They're optional. If you do collect all the lightning cards, you get to play as Max in battle mode. So that's pretty cool. But there's 3 in each level. There's none on the final boss of each world. Just each level and each Crush Bomber. They're not hard to get, but the game doesn't really tell you how to get them in the Crush Bomber fights. Like, there's no list, so you're going to have to Google that, which can be a pain in the butt. But the main levels, you can just figure it out, because it's like, oh, I don't have that item yet, so they're not really that bad to find. Not really hard. The Crush Bomber fights on here are a lot of fun, very creative. They all have different move sets. And the main bosses that give you the bomb elements, they're a lot of fun too. I will say the bosses on here can be very kind of underwhelming at times. They're very, like, on a scale from 1 to 10 on difficulty, the bosses on here are like a 3 for the most part. I feel like Bomber Elite can give you a challenge if it's like your first time playing it, I guess. And even the first main final boss of World 1, the giant elephant, that can kind of be a little tricky. but the bosses on here, they're fun, but kind of underwhelming at times. Bomberman's moveset on here is very good. I've already mentioned the attribute bombs you can use, but Bomberman can pick up bombs on here, and if you charge them for a little bit, they'll become a big bomb. And these do a larger blast radius, and they're actually required to move certain giant boulders throughout the game, and they do a lot of damage to bosses. A normal bomb will do like a heart of damage, like a tiny heart, but if you use a big bomb, it'll take like a big heart from them. So lots of damage, but they also do lots of damage to you too, so be careful. Bomberman also has a bomb barrier on here, so you can reflect most attacks. I'd say like 90% of attacks on here you can reflect with it, like block it. Especially like explosions, if you hold out the bomb barrier in front of you. So he has a good variety of moveset. Plus, with the Care Bombs, it even gives you more customization. Lots of, so many things you can set up on here. And you got the speed ups and fire ups, but his moveset on here is very good. And the bomb barrier is kind of overpowered at times, but I like it a lot. The music on this game is so good and I love it. And the battle theme on here, they went on to use this new version of the battle theme that was introduced in this game and many other Bomberman games after it. You know, like Bomberman DS and even Bomberman Live. So the battle theme on here is just so iconic. And the whole soundtrack in general is amazing. The stressfulness of the bosses and the Crush Bomber boss music, it's just so epic and I love it. And I like how it like speeds up when you're close to defeating them. Just the world music in general, like the Taco Desert, when you're in like the sandstorm and you're trying to like find your way through that level, that music is so catchy. I love this whole soundtrack, it's amazing. In each world, there'll be one golden heart you can find in one of the many levels in each world. This golden heart will give you a permanent heart to your health bar. There's 4 total to find. They're not really too hard to find. As long as you're just exploring, you will come across them. Like on Neki Moon, you might have to perform like a bomb jump if you don't have the light bomb at that point. But it's really not hard to reach, but yeah, definitely grab those. Those give you extra health if you need them. The voice acting on here is very funny. It's very goofy at times, but it's good voice acting, you know? Some characters may be like a little over the top, but for the most part, like Professor Ein, he does a good job, and Bomberman himself, I love his voice on here. It's like my favorite Bomberman voice, even to this day. Only with his grunts, not when he's like, when he talks sometimes in like battle mode, like, or even when you pick up like an item. When he like kicks on here or picks up a bomb and you can hear his grunts, it just sounds like the perfect Bomberman voice. I just love it so much. I don't know who did the voice for him on here, but it's just absolutely amazing. I love it. And all the characters on here are pretty funny. The Crazy Bomber, Crush Bomber on Neki Moon, that boss fight, he can be kind of like, he's like kind of German scientist-esque voice, but he's like crazy, you know. And then you got like the big brother, little brother dialogue. Lots of fun, and I love the voice acting on here.
Big brother! Little brother! You like build formation!
Once you get to World 6, which is basically just a final boss level, you'll come across a giant ship and you have to destroy it. And then you meet up with Mujo, and he has the final bomb element, and it's corrupted, and it becomes a monster. It's a fun final boss fight. Like I said, like the boss fights on here, they're not really too hard, but they're still fun. And once you beat that, all of the bomb elements you've collected up to this point come together to purify the last bomb element. And then they scatter off back into outer space. So it's just like you had the bomb elements on the space freighter, and then they got scattered everywhere, and now they're just back in outer space again. So this whole game is amazing. I love the music, the gameplay. Everything about it is just so fun. It's like the funnest Bomberman game I've ever played. You know, I love it so much. If you loved Bomberman 64, and then if you've never like played the 64 The Second Attack, 64 The Second Attack introduced new like elemental attribute bombs. You have like the black hole bomb and all that stuff. So it's basically like Bomberman 64 and 64 The Second Attack combined. That's basically what Bomberman Generation is. And like improved stuff too. So it's just like the perfect 3D Bomberman. I love it so much. Besides backtracking basically each level in the game to get the lightning cards when you finally get like the attribute bomb you need or the Cara bomb. Besides the backtracking, it's a fantastic 10 out of 10 fun experience. The bosses can be a little underwhelming in terms of difficulty, but it's just such an amazing game. And now, let's talk about the iconic battle mode. You have the typical standard battle that you see in previous Bomberman games. And then you have new battle modes, such as coin battle, where your goal is to get a bunch of coins before the time runs out. Whoever has the most amount of money wins. A lot of fun. You have revenge battle, where you get in revenge spaceships and try to whack all these moles to build up points. Whoever gets to 5,000 points first wins. It's a lot of fun. And then you have probably my favorite, dodge battle. So you're like dodging bombs that fall from the sky, and they'll have like a grid on the blast radius of where they're gonna blow. A lot of fun, and it can be pretty stressful. It's just so amazing, and I don't believe this has ever returned in any other Bomberman game. You also have reverse battle, which you try to blast your bombs on the battlefield to paint as much as your character's color as you can before the time runs out. So if you're White Bomber, you want to make the battlefield as white as possible. So a lot of fun. And then you have the standard battle, you know, whoever's the last one alive wins. So many different battle modes on here, and it's so much fun. And it's a shame that stuff like dodge battle and reverse battle have never returned in future Bomberman games. This game has so much content, so many different Cara bombs to find and collect, lightning cards to get, beat the story mode, play tons and tons of hundreds of matches in battle mode with each different battle mode. Dodge battle, revenge battle, reversey, standard. This game has so much content, and like I said, you can replay the mini games that you played in the story mode on the title screen. So there's so much to do in this game. I believe this game is relatively cheap, probably in like the $20–30 range, maybe. A lot of fun. Go pick it up. If you love Bomberman, this is literally the definitive Bomberman game. Like, it is. I love it so much. It's such an amazing game. Go play it, and I'll see you next time.